What's up, guys? We are back. Fitness Profit Multiplier, Anthony and Jimmy. Today, we're going to be discussing the one role gym owners should never give up. And we talked to so many gym owners, and we had a lot of people who give this role up because they hate this role. And the issue is when you give up this role prematurely, your business will sink and flounder because you are the best person for this role. I would argue that this is the role that you should give up last. And you need to have somebody in your corner who will help you to accomplish these. I'm trying not to give it away, but will help you will help you to facilitate this role. But this should be the last role you give up. Jimmy, don't tell what it is, but why should this be the last role? Why? Why is it so vital?
Well, if this task flounders and does not perform well, you find yourself in a hole, right? You find yourself in a hole that you may not be able to dig yourself out of because you didn't put the person in this role that is proper for it, or you didn't train them up properly, or they don't have the bandwidth or the schedule to accommodate all the people that need to be accommodated to make this happen. Because sometimes this task happens earlier in the day, later in the day, whatever, and you need to have as much availability as possible to get this task done so that you can grow. And putting somebody in that role early may come with caveats because they have their own schedule. They want some balance. You don't have a system around it. You don't have enough clients at that moment to pad your payroll or pad your profit so that you can have a little bit of buffer to make this transition. And this is the task and the skill that you are going to be best at until you can build a system around it, because it is a difficult skill to train somebody to do properly. So the issue is that typically your employees are only going to be able to do things 80% as well as you, depending on the task, right? For me personally, administrative work is better for other people to do because I'm not I'm not oriented for that kind of stuff. But there's other tasks that I'm very oriented toward. And for other people to do them too early in your business is going to create some headaches, is going to create some issues. There's a multitude of reasons why, but predominantly it's because of that availability and that drive to get it done is not as big of a deal in your staff's eyes as it is in your eyes. And a lot of times people on your staff do not have a natural ability for this specific task.
And that task, guys, is the sales role. And it is because you are the best salesperson for your business, despite the fact that you may hate it, despite the fact that you might not want to do it, that you just icky about the fact of selling your gym. You are the best person because you have the passion. You understand why your service will change somebody. If you pass off the sales role too early, you are in big trouble, especially if you pass it off and it's not in a correct system. And you guys can go back and listen to the episodes we did on creating systems in your business. So if you just hired somebody and you say, okay, you're going to do the sales, go ahead, pick up the phone. You are in big trouble. Your business will really, I'm trying to think of like how much of a percent, at least 25% drop off we've seen. At least, and that's just in that current month, not going forward, not talking about all those other things that go with that, lead follow up and so on and so forth. So the sales role is the last one that you're going to be giving up in your business for sure.
Yeah. It's one of the things that, especially as an independent gym owner, you have one location, right? And I'm assuming that most people listening to this either have one location or thinking about starting one or have a franchise or whatever, there's probably not a ton of people that are multiple location owners that are listening to this. You have one location, and even if you have multiple, you could still hold this role and hold on to it, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of holding on to it if you have multiple facilities. That's a little bit, you can't be two places at once. But if you're a single facility owner, holding onto that sales role as long as possible is the way to push that flywheel forward. So on the flip side of that, giving up everything that's not, besides marketing, right? Giving up everything that's not is your first goal as you move up the ladder, right? Because you need more availability for this role. You need more availability to be able to set the appointments, have that open schedule, make those things happen, because your close rate is going to be higher than your staff's close rate. You can train your staff really well to do these things and get their close rate really, really close. But in the beginning, especially, your close rate is going to be better. So you want to close as many people as possible so you can spin that flywheel. We talk about this. You spin it and spin it. And then, or you roll that ball, you push that ball up the hill, right? And then you just let it coast, right? Because so it's all this inertia you got to build up to get this thing moving. Once it starts moving, then it's easier to plug somebody else in because you have the systems and the processes, you built it out, you have the skills. So you can identify where things are going wrong with that individual who you're training in sales. You've had enough experience doing it. Because selling at a big box gym, if you come from that environment and you were selling at a big box gym, is different than selling inbound leads to your own individual business. It's a different animal. So you have to be able to understand the pitfalls and understand the successes and what makes that meeting run. So you doing it for a while makes it much easier for you to be able to hire that person out and make that happen. We were talking to a gym owner the other day who gave up that role too early and saw a huge decrease in revenue. And listen to this episode. He did not want to go back into the role. He lived farther away from his facility. It's too inconvenient for him to go in there. And that's a recipe for being stuck in that 20K mark, right? Being stuck under that 30K mark a month. And that's not a business at that point. That's a job, because you don't have enough profit to hire out the people you need to hire out, find the freedom from the business, and actually make a good living from your business. That's more than what you'd be making being a training manager at a big box, right? Because we didn't get in here to make the kind of income that training managers at big boxes make. Because if we did, we would just do that, because you have no risk and it's more cush. It's not as stressful, right? Running your own business is stressful. And we endure all this stress and endure all of this and push ourselves and take all this risk. We should be making more than what we would be making working for somebody. Like, that makes sense, right? So the work that's required to get there is more than you may think. So don't give up this role too early. Make sure that it's something that you prioritize and work into your schedule, and follow up, run it.
Yeah, I would say the first role that you really should be delegating out is going to be like a janitor, right? Like when you're first opening the gym, you definitely got to get someone to help you clean, because you shouldn't be cleaning, because instead of cleaning, you could be making sales calls, right? So don't try to save the money by cleaning. Hire someone to do that. Once you have someone to clean and just, I guess, like a little, like, I don't know if you want to consider that person like an admin janitor type person that kind of does like little tasks around the gym, like those things, right? Once you have that kind of covered, the next thing that you usually want to pivot yourself out of is the training. Because if you pull yourself out of the training, that's more time for you to sell and more time for you to market. And then the marketing seat and the sales seat are going to be the last two that you're going to be kind of teetering between. You know, which one do you actually give up? The marketing one is really easy because you don't have to actually, and we should probably do an episode on what includes the marketing seat, what you need to do in your business. But the marketing seat is really easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of time every week. You can have a marketing assistant kind of help you to do all the things. Okay, we're going to run this promotion, so you go out and put all the emails out, but just like you could stay in charge of that one. But the sales one, you got to have the systems down, right? And that's exactly what we show you here. Show you how to get the sales system in place, show you how to train your staff correctly to understand the sales role, and then constantly training them and training them and training them to better themselves at that role. So this way, then you could step out. Like my head salesperson has beaten my record for how many sales I've done in a month, 3 months already in a row. So she is by far a better salesperson than me at this stage. And that's fine. That's perfect. That's what I want. So but you need to wait and have patience to get out of the role. I understand you don't like it. I get it. I get it. You don't want to do it. It's inconvenient. It's blah, blah, blah. But you need to do it the right way, because if you don't, you will see a drop in revenue and you're going to have to jump back in anyway. So better to do it smartly and listen to this episode and implement the stuff that we talked about than to risk losing all that profit and revenue in the long run. But guys, if you want to continue this conversation, click those links below. You can join our group and we can continue this conversation there. And if you're interested in hopping on the phone with us so we can discuss your individual issues, just click that link below as well. And until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, we are out.